Hi guys, welcome back. So today's video I am doing JAMSU number 2. I did a video previous to this which was a JAMSU water dunking technique, spray bottle method. That one I used cold water because all of the instructions that I've ever seen says that you need to use cold water. I've had a few people ask me, can I use room temperature water? I've even had comments below asking me that same question. And also I've had one comment saying that they've tried it with the room temperature water and it worked for them. And then I had another comment saying that room temperature water does not work. It has to be cold water. So it got me curious. So that's this video today. I'm gonna go ahead and try it with the room temperature water. Now everything that I'm doing is gonna be exact as my first video. The only difference is I am going to be using the Evian water that I used the previous time. I'm gonna use that as, you know, room temperature. The other video I put it in an icebox for about 2 hours and it was ice cold water, and that technique worked wonderful. I love that technique. I use that technique at least 2 to 3 times a week. And another thing that I did change from my first video is I no longer pat my face dry. I felt like whenever I patted my face with a paper towel or cloth, it sometimes would lift off a little bit of the powder on my face. So what I do now is I use my little hand fan and I just dry it like this. You can either use this if you don't have a fan like this, then you can probably use like maybe a book or something just to fan it, or you can let it air dry, but air drying takes a little bit more time. I got this from Walmart and it was like $2 and I've had it for 3 years, so it's worth the $2. So I've already moisturized and primed my face. So I'm gonna go ahead and put on my foundation and my concealer, and then we can go ahead into that technique using the room temperature water. So first thing I'm gonna do is prep my eyelids with my MAC Painterly paint pot. I always do this first before I do any kind of foundation or concealer. Other people seem to like the ochre color. I think it's pronounced ochre from the Painterly. No, not the Painterly, but the paint pot. I like the Painterly color because it's closer to skin color. The other one's a little bit more yellow. So now I'm moving on to my foundation, which is the Double Wear, the Estee Lauder Double Wear, which is my favorite foundation. Okay, moving on to my concealer. Which is the Maybelline Age Rewind. Okay, let's go ahead and pack on that powder. And I'm gonna be using the RCMA powder that I used the last time. Today I'm using a lighter color shirt. The last time I used a black shirt and it got all over my shirt. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and spray it with my Evian water, which is in room temperature. Normally, the first video I did it with the Evian water because I didn't have a spray bottle that had a fine, you know, mist on it. I did find one, and that's what I use regularly, but I just wanted to make it as close as possible to the first video, which I used the Evian water. That one was cold water, but this one I'm going to be using room temperature. So let's go ahead and spray. Make sure you get it really drenched. Oh, good, I did. That's very smart of me. Okay, I'll wipe that up. And so now I don't, and you need to leave it on for 30 seconds if you have oily skin and 15 seconds if you have dry skin. So I'm going to leave it on for 30 seconds because my skin is pretty oily in the T-zone area. Okay, on the other video I patted dry with a paper towel, but I've been using my fan, so I'm gonna go ahead and dry it that way. Takes about a minute with the fan to dry. Okay, looking at it, it doesn't look as smooth as when I use the technique with cold water. I can still see some of my pores. When I use the technique with the cold water, my pores are like, you can't even see it. But what I'm gonna go do right now is put on the rest of my makeup because I wanna see how the rest of my makeup goes on as far as my contour and my blush and my eyeshadow. The previous video, when I do it with the cold water, the rest of my makeup goes on flawlessly. It goes on really super smooth. So I just wanna see how it compares. So let me go ahead and do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so first thing I noticed, right after I, dried my face with the fan, I noticed that I could still see my pores. When I do this technique with the cold water, I can't see any of my pores. Second of all, when I went to put on the rest of my makeup, it went on smoothly, but not as smooth as if I had used the cold water. So let me take a look at it right now. See, with the room temperature water, I can see my pores. Normally, if I don't do this JAMSU technique, I use the Benefit Professional under my foundation because I have big pores. But when I use the JAMSU technique with the cold water, I don't even have to use the Professional. But looking at my face right now with the room temperature water, I would need to use the Professional underneath my foundation. So with that being said, I'm just gonna continue using it with cold water. I can see you using it, using room temperature water, say if you're traveling and you don't have a refrigerator to put the bottle in. I mean, it's better than not doing the technique. But for me, I am going to continue using the cold water. I think the cold water just does something to your skin, the pores. It closes it up. I'm not sure, but I really, really love that technique. If you want to check out my first video on this Korean water dunking technique, water bottle method, I'll have a link down in my description box and also on the end card. I hope this video helped you if you're thinking about doing this technique, if you needed to use cold water or room temperature water. If you have any comments, go ahead and put them below. Please don't forget to subscribe. Till next time, bye!